brother, it's Ruckus. Just wanted to let you know I'm swinging by your rug in a few minutes if you want to send somebody out. Let your people know. If they want a custom rug, they can find me on Instagram at Ruckus_rugs. Hit me up and we'll get you something that you like. Hope the podcast goes good, brother. Have a good one.
Mr. Matthew Grube, the one, the only. Bring it in.
What's up, bro?
Oh, man. What do you got? Oh, special delivery. Want that? Special delivery. Need that. Oh, what you came bearing gifts?
What's up, bro? Yeah.
Yo. Damn, dude.
Rugs by the man,
Rugs
huh?
by the man. Dude, Rugs by the Ruckus here. Okay, let's see what we got, dude. Thanks for bringing this in, man.
No
We're gonna chat in a second, but let's get this. Let me move this over here for a second.
Try these on real quick.
Yeah, put those on. We got the.
This is tight, dude.
I do have scissors here somewhere. Here we go. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Ruckus. Man, dude. Look at this leather, dude. Look at this leather.
Dude, that's real deal.
Dude, touch it.
Dang, that's real.
Feel that, dude. Look
Is that real? I have no idea.
Dude, I'm telling.
I don't know how to tell.
It's real to me, dude.
There you go.
All right, let's check this out. Thank you so much, Ruckus, for pulling up. Man, let's
These are fresh, man.
let's show them what we got. Yo.
Damn. Hold up.
Yo, check it out. How many camera angles we got?
Brother,
Okay,
that's
we got
fresh.
This one.
You gotta get in the mic, bro.
We got,
Yeah, talk to the people.
Damn, check it out. Yo. Where should I set this?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh, no, here.
Yo, Ruckus, I really appreciate you putting the time and attention into this. Got it?
There we go, yeah.
There we go. Time and attention into this. And, I mean, dude, this is nuts. I'm so appreciative of it. And if you want something like this yourself, reach out to Ruckus. Okay, Ruckus Rugs on Instagram, Facebook, RUCKUSRUGS. Yep.
Bro, it's so dope. It's like 3D. Like the carpet, like it's got like, grooves in it and stuff. It's not, it's not just like flat.
Yeah, you for sure. You being the groove meister, you see the grooves. I mean,
I can't
you
help
are
but notice,
dude. You're groovy. This man is groovy, dude. Tell us. Thank you for being here, first off.
Dude, thanks for having me.
And this man has been an integral part of this whole process, and I want you to just tell people a little about yourself first off, and let the audience know where you're from, and just give them a little bit of meat and potatoes,
Okay, sure, yeah. My name's Matthew Grube, from Baltimore, Maryland. And born and raised, been here for a long time, traveled all around the country. I've never been out of the country yet, but I can't wait to experience that perspective and those perspectives one day, But yeah, Baltimore born and raised, and just, I don't know, man. I do videography, obviously, here for you. This is our podcast we work on together, So yeah, but I do many things, jack of all trades, as they say, master of none.
Yes, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that energy. It's just like beaming. It's beaming off you.
Thank you.
It's just really like, gosh. So, dude, give me a little bit, some of your inspirations. Give me some things that have fueled you throughout your artistic career and life itself.
Sure, yeah. Well, first of all, I have incredible parents. I have to give it up for them. They were my first inspirations, and my little sister. The family, was incredible. I'm very grateful for that upbringing that I had. Obviously, that, families have their own dynamics, and there's always things that go on. And so, but I'm just very grateful for the kindness and generosity and kind of things that they've had with me, and it's really just the kindness, that I felt with them. And so, I learned a lot from them. Basically, everything from them. They would always have music playing in the house. My mom, she teaches jazzercise, aerobics to music and stuff, right?
Get it.
So she's fit, and she's a Taurus like me, so she has her garden in the back, and so she's incredible. And so I learned music and dancing from her. But my dad loved music too. He's a professional tennis player, so sports were always big.
Nice.
But like every Sunday, they're cooking up breakfast, and there's all different kinds of music playing, and it was just a really good vibe in the house. And I learned to appreciate the arts in that way. My mom had paintings everywhere, and she, we would eventually watch films. My dad would even let me watch some scary films. I know you mentioned you didn't like scary films. I watched like The Shining when I was, super young. I had the blanket over my eyes, like, oh my God,
I can see it now, dude.
Yeah,
I can
but
see
I had
it now.
but like, seeing, Jack Nicholson and just all these incredible actresses, actors that are just, I loved film, I loved stories. So not just scary, but just everything. I was a kid, I watched everything.
Is scary your favorite, though?
No, I wouldn't say that.
What would you say your favorite genre is?
Probably like psychological thrillers.
Ooh,
I don't know.
nice.
There's something about them that there's an aspect to them all, but they make you think and stuff, and I always appreciate that too. And it keep you on your toes. You never figure out what's going on quite yet.
For sure.
It's
sure.
interesting.
It has you on the edge of your edge of your seat.
Exactly. I mean, it's hard when people are always asking, like, who is that? What's going on in the movie? Those are the worst for that.
Right, right. You're right.
But yeah, they're fun.
For sure.
Yeah.
What about some bands or musicians that inspired you as a drummer?
Wow. Yeah. I guess I grew up listening to like Motown with my dad, and like the Rolling Stones and the Beatles, and like Three Dog Night, and like rock and roll like that, and Temptations, and all different kinds of stuff, like with Gloria Estefan, and like the different tango beats, and just all kinds of different stuff. I didn't realize I liked jazz, but I liked jazz. I knew it was something about it. So I listen to more modern jazz now than anything, but John Coltrane and things like that, I grew up listening to. And so, yeah, I
can see where your grooviness comes from, dude. It's like it stems down deep.
Yeah, and there's rock influence, though, too. Like, I love rock. I love rock and roll, like Bonham was one of my favorite drummers, and but I love the Beatles, and Ringo, he's a classic kind of guy,
Classic.
Yeah, I love it all, man. I just couldn't get enough of music in general, and so I listen to everything, and I'll try anything twice, so.
For sure. Let me ask you, how long did you know that you wanted to be a drummer? Or did you start with a different instrument and then segue into that? Or
Actually, yeah, so I was always just singing songs and rapping and writing poetry and stuff growing up, and then my dad and I decided to take guitar lessons when I was like 12, but there was a drum set in the house. My dad played drums when he was a kid, but it was it wasn't fully put together. There was no pedal, or there was always something missing. You couldn't really play the whole kit. So,
Gotcha.
I never really played.
Right?
Well, I never really then touched it. I was like, I don't know really what to do, but like, it was there, and I just always had. But I was always tapping on the seats and just beating on everything, whatever. So. But guitar was the first one that I like learned as an instrument besides the voice. I think the voice. But the drums.
People forget that one.
It is like it's the sound waves and the beating on the drums, just tapping on stuff. So drums, everybody's a drummer. They just haven't played on the kit yet.
I love that, dude. That is such a great way to put that. Let's see here. What is there anything? Let's dig a little bit into the videography side of things, and your role in the podcast itself, and what other places you see yourself going in the videography world sector.
Yeah, I mean, I got into videography really because of skateboarding.
I remember that when you were with Fuck You Mean.
Fuck You Mean was the iteration that it kind of turned into. That was Dante Benjamin's company that he created.
Shout.
Yep, he's out in LA right now. He's skating. He's doing his thing. Him and his daughter Grace, they're doing great.
Excellent.
Shout out. So yeah, I met Dante. He was really who got me into wanting to film, because he was like 14. I was like 17. I just moved into the county finally. I grew up in the city.
Okay.
In Baltimore City. And so I would skate around and stuff, and it would be super fun, but it wasn't like the safest places to skate. It was always kind of tough, you know what I mean, just going downtown. But so moving to the county, I'd skate around. I met Dante, and he was so good. I was like, I want to, like, and that's when I started seeing a skate video. I saw a skate film. I've been watching films my whole life. I love film. I love the story. I love, you know, everything. I just love stories, you know, in general. So, you know, when I saw a storyline in a skate video, and I saw tricks, it was everything came together. I was like, I got to do this. I asked my folks for like a camera. They got me this cheap little camera. It was everything. It started. My folks again getting me going, like giving me the spark to try the things. They always let me try the thing and see if it worked out. So super grateful for that. And I started filming him. I started filming people. I made a video by the end of high school. I showed it to my high school friends, and they're like, dude, you got to do something about this.
Yeah, right.
So I was like, oh, okay. So I went to a tech school, Sheffield Institute for the Recording Arts.
Shout out to Sheffield.
Went there for their year program. I started doing, you know, different videos there, learning about that. Yeah, I started, you know, that's where we shot my first music video for All Time Low. It was their first music video. They're a rock band from Baltimore. So they've done, you know, they've gone on to be huge. And that was really a fun time. I went to high school with Zach, and we used to skate. And that's kind of how it started. My dad worked with Ryan's dad, the drummer, and they were like, hey, the kids need to make a video. You know, we were all kids, you know, we were all just young kids. So we made that music video, and look at them, you know, 4 million views on YouTube and stuff. The guys have blown up, and that was just super fun. I learned a lot from there. And, you know, after that, I worked for HBO on The Wire for the 5th season. And so I learned a lot there. I got
Shout
to see
out The Wire, Baltimore City.
It was incredible. Worked under Alex Appelfeld, and so I still keep in touch with a lot of those guys from that time. And they taught me so much. I mean, I learned a lot. I was a young kid, and but I was like kind of arrogant. I was like, I want to move on and make my own projects. Like, I don't want to work for the man anymore. Like, this was cool. I saw the system. I saw how big it can get. But I saw like, oh, I would have gotten the shot like this, or I would have gotten the shot like that.
Right. You kind of, you're that outside view too, kind of looking in like, how can I, you know, do things a little bit differently, right?
Yeah, I always kind of would see that and wonder, like, even with the drums and music, like, would I played the same thing there to that guitar riff, or I wonder if he could have done that, or they could have done that there, you know. So, but that's just me, like, you know, seeing my own perspective in that way, but also always taking into account how it's all done, all these different perspectives that it takes to create something of that magnitude. And that was really neat to see, and it inspired me to keep going on and making more skate films and putting them out and selling the Senator Theater out a few times. And
I remember
stuff.
some of those. The Senator is a huge historical theater in Baltimore, and to kind of have these guys all up on stage, and you know, just some skateboarders who had a vision and lived it out is really, it's special. So
it was surreal. It was a surreal experience. You know what I mean? Like 800 people coming out to see a video about skateboarding, and it happened multiple times. We did it over the years, you know, a few times, and so that was a really special crew of people. And it taught me a lot, just falling over and over again and getting back up, you know, the kind of lessons that skateboarding taught me.
Dig into that a little bit. Like, you know, the perseverance that you have, you know, to be like
it's tough.
To fall.
It's tough, man. It hurts.
Get back up, right?
It hurts. You're going for a trick, you're jumping down steps, but like when you see your buddies do something, it gets you stoked, like, you know, or when you land something, finally, it just feels like you've accomplished this thing. It's like that, you know, and it's artistic in a way.
Wait a second.
Doing the
That's
tricks.
A great way to
the tricks
to
are, you know, because skateboarding was always like a sport because it was athletic in a way, but it never felt like a sport because it wasn't really a competition. Even though there are competitions now, it's all like judgment competitions, and it's all a perspective, right? And so whoever the judges are and their perspective are, they're going to give this many points for this trick, right? But there's no rules for that, like basketball or whatever. Behind this line, you get this many points, and
point
you know,
system.
it's not like that. You're not competing with each other. You're hyping. You're competing with yourself, if anything. But you realize that there is no such thing as competition, because
that's a awesome thought.
You know, you're just doing. You're just experiencing. You're just living life, and so people might be trying to compete with you, but if you really just realize that there's no such thing as competition, you're really just experiencing and doing your best and trying to create and make things happen. And there's just going to be obstacles along your way, like there always is. So, and that's what you can call competition if you want. But with skateboarding, there would be obstacles, and you would try to like hit them and use them, and like have some fun with it and be artistic with it.
Bring them into the experience.
It was super neat. I mean, then that was what drew me in, and there was like a story behind it, and everybody's style that they had when they did their trick.
A little different.
It was a little different, and it was like, oh, I like the way that guy kick flips. It's the same trick as a kick flip over here, but they just make it look so good.
Yeah.
And so there was something about that, and you had certain guys you wanted to watch. You just, or people you wanted to watch. So, and I was just always trying to find my style. I think that's always been the thing is growing into my style.
I feel like that's something that you are forever going to be doing, right? Is developing your own style and taking in what other people are doing with their style and figuring out, okay, how can I bring the most authentic side of me while also being inspired by someone else and not like, taking it, but honoring it almost, Respecting it. Man, dude, that's some deep stuff, dude. Hey, Dig, I want you to tell us a little bit about the Watermelon Room, where we're at here, and maybe what's going on here and what you see like the future of these podcasts and possibly other podcasts.
Sure.
Tell me a little bit about that and the background into what's going on here.
Sure, yeah, this is a really cool space. Garrett Long runs the Watermelon Room. It's a recording studio here, and we rent the space, and it's just a beautiful stage performance room space, and with his recording space upstairs. I have my control room in the back, and while Chase is doing the video switching for me while I'm out here, right? Normally
Shout out to Chase. Thank you, Chase.
So
Great job today.
Crushing it, everyone, and
absolutely.
Jay, our helpers.
Yep,
so
Jay,
we've done, it's been amazing. Like it's usually just you and me setting it up, doing the shoot, and so the team is growing, obviously, and that's a beautiful thing. So, but it's a great place, and we do live music shows here, recording albums here, live albums. We also have my podcast I just started, which is a live music podcast, and so it's open for business. We're now, we finally got the cameras in, and we're fully streaming and everything. So it's great, and we're excited for future endeavor.
Let me ask you this: if people want to do a podcast themselves, or they want to use the studio here,
we
how
do.
can they?
Yeah, they can contact me. I'm online. You can
tell them what is it.
Okay, so Instagram, I guess, is groovy_Grube.
Okay. Spell it.
Fuck, I don't know how to spell it, man. I don't know. If you know what I mean, the
Watermelon
Room. You can find the Watermelon Room. I'm in Groovy Stream Studios as well. That one, I think it's spelled straightforward, GROOVY.
Okay.
Stream Studios.
Gotcha.
Cool. Yeah. You can find us. We're in Baltimore. So yeah, we're doing all kinds of stuff. I want to get into the video game podcasting. We have the space for that as well. So if you play video games and you've always wanted to stream, we can do it here.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. So, hey, I think we'll end with just a final thought on, I let you hear a track a little bit earlier today, and I know that you have risked a lot to follow your passion and to put yourself in a position of knowledge and just really being adaptable to situations. And the song was called All or Nothing because, when it comes down to stuff like this and the thought and energy that goes behind it, it really is all or nothing. Can you give me a little bit just how the track made you feel?
Oh, I love the track. I love the track. It's definitely probably my favorite song of yours out there right now. The vibe is great. The message is great, and your flow is amazing. I mean, it's just a great song. And it definitely made me think about the decision, the moment to go in all or nothing. I mean, at that point, it was, teetering on the decisions. And you can only know so much when you're pondering something. I do think that it's good to do. It's good to take time to ruminate on some things sometimes, but at some point it's too much.
Yeah.
And you gotta just go for it, and it's either all or nothing. I mean, you can't half-ass this stuff. You can't half-ass anything. I mean, how are you gonna know otherwise?
Right.
How are you gonna know? You're gonna be wondering, could it have been if I did a little more, if I tried a little harder, if I did the thing, said the thing, took the step. And so I'm living by my gut now in that way, and trying. And there's going to be a lot of mistakes made along the way, but I feel like that's.
I made like 50 today.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. It's what it goes.
You accept me for who I am.
I've had a hard time with that myself, and just not with you, like accepting your mistakes, but my own.
We all have hard times with things,
My moon is in the 6th house in Libra, so there's a lot. No, y'all wouldn't understand.
I know. Wait a second.
No,
was that what was that? What were you just speaking there?
Yeah, sorry. No, I was speaking another language. Yeah, astrology language. My bad.
So tell me a little bit more about the world of astrology and what's happening in the sky right now.
Well, yeah. So that's there's a lot going on. So for me to get into exactly what's happening right now, and it's always developing, basically. These planets are moving, right? Just like life, everything's always moving. So even in the astrology chart that we read, it's alive. It's not it is a picture of where the planets were the moment you were born, typically. That's the natal chart that we read. But then there's the progressed chart, where the planets are now, how that plays over top of these patterns that you were born into. The evolutionary astrology is the kind of astrology that I study. So, in evolutionary astrology, it's a little different from Vedic or from sidereal, or all the different. There's a few different ways of looking at the chart. But
I have a question for you.
Yeah, please.
If I, as a beginner, want to start to learn about astrology, where's a good place to start?
There's so much information. Like the internet right now is like an overflow of information, right? So again, it's just, beware of that. Just know that there's, like you were saying, this is true for me earlier, that there's a part of that there's a duality in life. We learn about that through the Gemini and Sagittarius axis, about how much information there is, the duality of how two things can be right and wrong at the same time.
Wow.
Your perspective, my perspective, we have the same perspective of something, and we think one's right, one's wrong. But why is it right or wrong? And that's part of the Sagittarius of us learning and growing, and all these different energetic patterns. So I would say to learn about the signs, the 12 signs, the archetypes, understanding these patterns that are in the world, in the universe, because although I'm a Taurus, my sun sign is in Taurus, I have planets all over the place, and I'm not a Taurus. Like I am, we see Taurus everywhere. We see
What's your actual sign?
My sun sign is in Taurus.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
But there's so much more. There's so many more aspects where Pluto was, is really the soul's evolutionary journey,
Wow.
and so through evolutionary astrology, right? So, and everything else plays off that. Your Mars, your Venus, all these things. Mars, how you action things. Venus, is what you love, what you find resourceful. Things
word.
like that. So, all these energetic patterns you see. An insect find resource and find preservation, right? And find how to
you
hide.
Can observe
That's
that.
Taurus, right? When you see that, you're like, oh, that reminds me of this pattern. And so we're all part of these energetic patterns, but where the planets are might bring something out more in you here or there. You might notice this more. You might be more prone to this because of where these patterns are. And so that kind of goes into where you make your decision making. Why do you make these instinctive actions? Where is it stemming from? Is it stemming from this desire? And so, you know, it's all about self-discovery in that way, right? And so, and understanding self. So that's what's helped me understand. I've always been looking at the cosmos, but I've been very much
always just looking up, right? What was the when can you remember the first time that you were like really amazed with the sky? Do you remember like the first time that like you really kind of like looked up and understood like the power of what's up there?
Yeah, I remember as a child just driving in the car. My folks would be having conversation on long rides home, and my first memories are like falling asleep, looking up out the window, looking up at the stars as we were driving by, and like the lights from the highway going by, and wanting to have those lights not on because I wanted to see more, you know, of the stars. It was so grand.
Yeah.
There was something about that that caught my eye. I didn't know how deep it actually went until the past few years. I've always kind of seen astrology, seen horoscopes and things, and I was like, oh, that's kind of, I feel that, like, you know, but I was like, oh, but everybody feels like that's so broad. Right, and it's true, right?
That's how you
because
think,
again,
right?
I was like, there's only 12 archetypes, there's these energetic patterns, but it's these combinations of everything and these aspects that these planets make that make it very personal for you. And when you read the chart in that way, it's a lot different than just going, I'm a Taurus, my sun's in Taurus. Okay. No, it's where is the moon in relation to the sun? Where was Pluto in relation to all these things? There's aspects that are being made, and it's either giving tension or it's giving release, or there's ease and it's flow.
Right.
There's different ways that they see each other. There's blind spots, like I can't even see. The sun's in the way, you know. I've always thought that my Mercury must be in retrograde, because when everyone talks about Mercury being retrograde, I felt normal. I was like, everything else is like my pace now. Like, wait a second, everybody else is freaking out. And I'm like, this feels good to me. And so when I started reading the chart, it was like, oh, your Mercury, if your Mercury is in retrograde in your chart, then you might feel it this way. Oh, that makes sense. Well, Mercury wasn't in retrograde, so I didn't understand that. The more I started studying astrology, I see, oh, the sun and the Mercury were conjunct. The sun was blocking it out, basically making it retrograde. So there's these little patterns. As you study it and you learn more, you'll find this self-awareness in it. And I go, okay, you know, the thing with self-awareness is funny though, because the more we become aware of ourselves, the more like guilty we can feel when we're not living at that higher vibration, right? But that's the beauty of it. It's kind of keeping us now, oh, now we know how we like, oh, how can we evolve? Now we're evolving, like, now you're holding yourself up to this. I understand. I see when I'm slipping. I see when I'm not doing as well. I don't want to be there. I understand where my faults might be. It's easy. There's a Virgo trait. It's easy to blame yourself or see the imperfections in yourself or see the imperfections in the world and hone in on that. But there's a use for that, right? It's a cleansing thing. It's a, how do I get better? How can we be helpful, right? Leo, everyone knows, or anyone that's a Leo will know that they're very, like, I'm a Leo, like, see me, right? Like, check out what I am. Mitch, you know, Mitch is a Leo,
Mitch,
right?
shout to Mitch, all right.
Right, so, and I'm sure you're going to be talking to him someday, right? And so what the Leo, as you go around the chart, the Leo is at the top of the pyramid, basically. It's looking down, it's like, yo, everybody check me out, I can see this thing. And the very, and before that, all these other archetypes are really learning about yourself, which why when it gets to Leo, you're like, oh, look at all these traits I've learned, and I know all these things. But then when you get to the next sign, Virgo, it's like the transition sign that says, now you're flipping the pyramid upside down, you're seeing the whole universe, and you're going, well, whoa, like, and they're telling you what your faults are now. It's like, you're so great, but yes, everybody's great, and here's where the faults are, here's how we get better. And so there's this cleanse. So all these, they matter, they all matter. These archetypes are part of our lives, and there's so much we can learn from all of them, you know. And so you just think you're a sun sign, whatever. There's so much more. We are all of these, and so it's all encompassing. It's a huge perspective, and I learned that I will always be learning more every day. You know, every astrologer that I've spoken with has brought more perspective to the archetypes, a deeper understanding as I go. So I can never say I know all these things. Like, there's always something more to learn. But it's important to talk about it. It's important to talk with each other about these ideas, because this is how we start sparking ideas with each other.
Here. Yeah. How long has this study itself been relevant? You know, like how long has astrology been
Forever.
been
It's just
studied?
been it's as long as the universe has been around, because
Yeah.
it is the universe. The astrology is just
Understanding it.
people that were figuring out how to measure something. It's like how we figured out time, right? Time is like
That's a good
a
point.
certain way here on Earth, right? But we know that it stretches when you get outside of Earth. And what is it
Theory
anyway?
of relativity.
There's exactly there's all these things that are going into it together. So
I love in the movie Interstellar, when they go to a different planet and time moves differently there.
and that's the theory as well, but they've kind of tested that theory in time, and it's as they say, they've gone out. Now that's if you believe we've actually gone to the moon or gone to these places. I'm sure it's hard for people to, I see in this day and age, it's hard to believe things. There's so much
Do you think we
information,
went
like
to the
we're
moon?
talking
Did
about.
we go to the moon?
I don't even, I can't say yes or no.
Okay.
I think because of my perspective of seeing how media can be manipulated, I create it myself, right? We create media here.
Right.
And so I've edited films. I like stories. I like these
Yeah.
films, but they're typically just edited in a way, right? And so when there's a raw story happening, that's what's, you have to take in all these perspectives. So I understand that there may be a lot of truths to what has happened in history.
Yeah.
And it depends on who wrote it and how we got that information.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to gather all that information. For me, it's almost not relevant
Yeah.
whether or not we did or not for my life. It has nothing to do with what I'm doing and how I'm
guess
living
what?
my
Maybe
life.
you could be the first.
Who knows?
You never.
I've been to space. My body was here, by the
Good
way.
day.
Yeah.
It makes me think about the Saturn that's in the logo there. Tell me more about just like Saturn itself and.
Okay, in the astrology?
Yeah.
Okay, specifically?
Yeah.
Sure, Saturn. Wow. Okay. So my understanding of Saturn is that it has to do with time itself. We were just talking about time. It is the crystallization of our reality. It is the hardening. It is the actual
Glue.
meat and potato. It is. I wouldn't even necessarily say the glue, but it is the structure. It is the bone. If Cancer, the archetype is the marrow, the Capricorn and the Saturn and Capricorn are related. It's
Wait, why'd you go like that? Were they related? They're
so they're polar opposites,
okay.
but they're like two sides of the same coin, and that happens 6 times around the wheel. So you'll have a polar opposite
understand.
sign. So
what you're
Aries
saying.
and Libra, right? Taurus and Scorpio, Gemini and Sagittarius, Cancer and Capricorn. We were just
Okay.
talking about Leo and Aquarius, Virgo and Pisces. Right, and those are those combinations, right? And this is that wheel that keeps, and they relate to each other. So
What's that wheel called?
the chart, it's the natal chart,
'Kay.
right? Or the astrological wheel,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, so Saturn is like where we'll see, time form things and are in the structure. So it'll sometimes relate to the parental figure in your life that created the structure for you, that told you the rules. They put boundaries, right? They put boundaries around.
Maybe they open
things.
boundaries too.
There could be no boundaries, right? When there's aspects where maybe Saturn and Neptune are conjunct, there could, Neptune is a planet that is like very hazy. It's all gas, and so that can put a haze on things. And so when you're talking about boundaries and then a haze, it can be no boundaries, right? And then depending on what sign, and so that's why there's specific things in the chart that will teach that. Yeah.
I have a question. When you see things like the James Webb Space Telescope and things like that, I'm sure if we get more information, can we learn more about these signs, or do we have all the information that we need in order to come up with the theses and the ideas behind these things?
It's a pretty good question. I don't know that the The telescope okay, well, if the telescope were to tell us something, what would it tell us? It would find new constellations, maybe, which would then alter the charts.
Yeah, right. That's where my head's at.
I've thought of that as well. I'm curious to that because there has been thoughts of a 13th sign, and 13 is a number that makes sense to me. I don't know why there's 12 months in a year. When you think about it, there's 13 moon cycles.
Okay.
Right? So why wouldn't the cycle of time go along with the planets when it's cycling in this way? You know, when you think about, when you divide time, 28 days per month, 13
Is there
months,
anywhere else
there's
in
a
the
roughly
world?
365, 366. So it doesn't, like, and why did that come about? The Gregorian calendar? Why did King Gregory decide this new, calendar was going to be the thing, and that we all adopted it? We all took our ways from kings, but if you remember back then, kings took a lot of advice from astrologers.
Oh, that's a great point,
and
actually.
they kicked them out when they didn't like what they had to say.
Right.
Right. So it's been going back for thousands of years. These, they've found,
And how did we keep those records and whatnot?
It's been developed over time. It started with hieroglyphics, and there's been carvings that they found, and giggly. I'm blanking on the name now, but there's tons of ancient ruins from all over the world at different names that they've found the same kind of markings from 10,000 years ago, or a little earlier, because roughly 10.5 was when the Ice Age was. So, so they're talking about more like 6,000 to 7,000 years ago, before they all talked about a flood in the same carvings and the tall people that came to help them rebuild, right? And we consider that the Anunnaki, or maybe aliens. We don't know what that is, right? So there's a lot of theories that go into that, and a lot of people speak about that. I don't know as much about that, but I'm knowledgeable that that's being spoken about, and it kind of, when you start relating everything, it raises more questions.
Let's talk a little bit about, you were speaking about the Akashic records the other day, and I have started to do a little research and kind of understand what they are, and being able to...
Maybe you can teach me a little more too.
You know what?
Because it's incredible
I'm sure
stuff,
we could
right?
teach each other.
I would love. We could Zoom call Anna, who gave me the Akashic Records reading, which blew my mind.
Shout to Anna.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And what did you take from that, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, so first of all, I'm sure, like, my understanding of the Akashic Records, right, is only so deep, but from what I know, she was accessing my spirit guides, ancestors, spirit masters, anyone that's kind of watching over me from other dimensions in that realm, that spirit realm. Whether you believe in that or not, I definitely have had personal experiences with them that have scared the living, out of me and stuff, but also been very enlightening, and also has made me go, was that even real?
Yeah.
Right. So, like, I'll be honest with you, like, and I haven't shared that with too many people, but I'll be honest.
Well,
about
thank
it
you
here.
for opening up there.
Yeah.
Really, man. We were talking about that the other day.
The reading itself.
Yeah, the reading, and tell me a little bit. I mean, what is it? Was that the first time you've ever done something?
I had never
like
even
that?
heard of it. This is a woman that I study astrology with and from. They don't speak much, but when they do, it's pretty profound, I've found. And
very poignant.
Yeah, and they don't know much about me at all, but, like, we're in this group together that we talk every so often, and she doesn't know anything about my personal life in that way quite yet, but I'm getting to know her now, especially after this reading. It's blown my mind. So, basically, she went into this reading. She has a process of doing that. It's a very spiritual thing. She accessed these records and was speaking things to me that were very personal, speaking of the watermelon room, here was the story that I'll tell everybody because I've been telling everybody the story. I am definitely dehydrated. I don't drink enough water. I'm going to say it right now, and I'm going to pull out the water. Let's drink some water together.
Cheers. Yeah. Drink more water, kids.
This is important, especially because I'm speaking a lot. I'm feeling the parchness. But so she didn't know that about me, and there's reasons actually why I am. I almost drowned when I was 5 in the ocean. The undertow took me out. No one could see me. I remember almost like it was the end. I had come
very vivid.
Very vivid. I was 5 years old.
Man,
had come to terms with my death. I was like, this is it. I was tired. I was trying to fight it. I had one hand out. I was in Bethany Beach, Delaware, right? Like no one surfs in Bethany Beach, Delaware, because the waves break on the beach. But for some reason that day there was a surfer out there, and this guy saved my life. He pulled me. I remember him just pulling me out. Yeah.
Do you know it? Do you remember his name?
No, I passed out. I don't.
Well, thank you. Shout
I just
out
remember
to
that last moment.
The
I thought it was
surfer.
my last. Yeah, shout out, dude. I thank him spiritually,
Ah.
basically every day, because I can't. I go every day and am grateful for every next day, because I thought it was at 5. I was like, I came to terms with it. I was like, this is it. Like I had a good run. I was really lucky for the life I had, the family I had. They were easy on me. For some reason, I knew, growing in the city, I saw a lot of perspectives. I saw not a lot of people that had
even
my
at like 5.
At 5, I knew it, dude. I was super grateful, and after that,
and
pretty
cool.
it is a great perspective to have. Sometimes I didn't have true self autonomy because of that. I've had to learn that in that way because I've been just so grateful for everything and just taking it all in kind of thing, but not actually going and experiencing things and trying new things.
Sometimes
and doing
you need that guide, that something to follow and reach for, I guess you could say.
It's true. Well, she didn't know that. She didn't know anything about me like that, but she's like, are you dehydrated? She got parched right away. It was great. She had a somatic experience, right?
What?
So it was very
somatic. What does somatic mean?
In your body, very feeling. You can you're experiencing
inner body.
It. Yeah, in your body, a physical thing.
Okay.
And so she started feeling these ways, and so she's like, are you dehydrated? And one time I had to go to the hospital. I had a breakout and things, and they had to give me an IV, and I always pass out when I get needles. Ooh. I cannot handle a needle, right? Pass out immediately.
Too.
Yeah. I passed out immediately. I woke up 3 hours later, and they were like, bro, we gave you more IV than we've given anyone. You need to drink water.
You used the stash, the IV stash, dog. They had to get the small key out.
I didn't know. I knew, but I didn't know. But I had caught myself holding my breath in the shower and random things. I'm just I don't drink a lot of water. So she mentions this, and the night before.
How old were you when that happened? The hospital visit.
I was probably my 20s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's been my whole life. I've just never drank much water. So
well, the self-awareness of that is.
That's come through studying myself because of the astrology. In the past year and a half, I've come to realize these things, and that's why I was able to bring that up to
more
her.
Puzzle pieces.
Yeah, exactly. It's helping me.
You got the
evolve.
outside. You got the outside.
The universe will smack you to evolve if you don't work on it yourself. It's going to do it anyway. It's shaking it. So as long as I'm just paying attention to these things, I can evolve with it. But the thing that blew my mind was that we were here recording at the Watermelon Room, my band, the drummer in Uncle Kunkel's 1 Gram Band.
Shouts out to the boys.
I'm also in Diamond Canopy.
Oh, shouts out to the boys.
And Tennessee Lamb is it's a Little Feat cover band. But anyway, so yeah, I'm just playing all the time. But 1 Gram Band was playing here at the Watermelon Room. We were doing a live recording session.
Yeah,
and
that was
you
amazing.
came, right? You were there
I was there a few nights. We were just jamming out. It was a live
so glad you were there.
recording.
Right on this stage. I was on right here. I had, actually we didn't have this camera up here yet.
You got it now.
We only had a couple of cameras, but that might come out. We're not sure. Just the audio. But anyway, we were recording here, and I was sweating a lot, and I realized, I need to. On Friday night, we did a 3-night run. On Friday night, someone was like, dude, where's the watermelon at the Watermelon Room? And I was like, dude, what was I thinking? Of course.
The Watermelon Room, come on.
So I go Saturday, I buy this watermelon. I see it on the side of the road. It is huge. You saw it was a 60-pound one. It was so hard to get in my
dude,
car.
it had like it came with its own like briefcase and all, dude.
It was like he had to have like a duffel bag or something. He needed like multiple
Duffel
people
bag
to carry that thing. It was
watermelon,
huge.
for sure.
So we bring it in, but I didn't have a knife or plates or nothing. Like I was so unprepared. I just had this huge watermelon. So it just sat there. So someone brought it on the front of the stage and put it at the front of the stage when we played.
It's an offering for the,
We
the
ended up
watermelon
ripping
guys.
that recording. I mean, Saturday night was the night.
Y'all,
Like
y'all were smashing.
I'm not gonna lie, that was a fun night, right?
Yeah.
So the vibes were there. The watermelon was like vibrating, right?
Taking it in,
But we never ate it, and I'm still dehydrated, right? Like I'm not drinking water enough, I hadn't had this reading yet. So then the very next day after that Saturday night, we had one more night to record here on that Sunday night. We were doing 3-night run. So Sunday, I had the reading at noon. And so she has this reading. She said, "Are you
early? You got that reading early, so that way the whole day
Before,
you're like, you know what? I'm about to live this.
I had a feeling something was going to be up because I knew that she was brilliant and just had.
I think you know what too. Maybe the fact that you're allowing yourself to open up to these things.
Sure.
I've
always kind of been open to it anyway. I'm actually learning how to like put boundaries, talking about Saturn, put boundaries on these spirits and these things. Like, not right now, spirits, I got to live here. Open, right? Yeah, I got to be back here on Earth and like get something done physically, eat some food, drink some water, so that I can keep thinking, like if I don't take care of myself, I can't think about this cool astrology stuff, or I can't do all this stuff. So like take care of my body, take care of myself. And this is what this reading was telling me to do. She's like, "Are you dehydrated?" All this stuff. She goes, and I eat salads. I love salads. I love vegetables.
Okay.
It's like my favorite thing to eat, right?
Okay.
So, but that gives me some water in that way, right?
Good point.
But but that's not all. I gotta have more. I gotta take care of myself. So she says, she doesn't know this about me. She does not know this about me. And she's like, "The veggies are great." They say the veggie. They're speaking through her.
Yeah.
She's like, "Are you dehydrated?"
It's like a three-way call, basically.
Right. And I can't hear them, but she's just translating, right?
From the cosmos.
And which I kind of already knew. They're trying to speak to me. I just wasn't letting myself listen and take it in,
Right.
So she's like, it's like another sign. Like, dude, here's more signs. Like, understand this. Here's the words that she said. She goes, the vegetables are great. You need to eat more fruits, more fruits. They say eat the watermelon, Matt.
Dude. I'm telling you, man.
I lost it.
It's connected.
It's like, what? So you know what we did? We chopped that thing up. Half of that thing was, half it was so big. I mean, there must have been 30, 40, however many people.
That'll feed a small village. We're talking about like tiny town.
The crazy thing was we ran out of water like here, like the water in the sink and stuff. The fountain's not that very good, so we had to get some water bottles for everybody. But we ran out of water bottles. So like, what did everybody have? They had the watermelon, and everybody loved it.
Eat the watermelon.
So it's like little signs like that from the universe that if we just are open to it, it's speaking to us, and it's helping guide us. It's just a part of it, and so these stars can help understand ourselves more and just get a bigger perspective. Because there's 7 billion of them on this world, right? Like there's 7 billion that make up the one big perspective that's really happening, and we won't really know that one big perspective until we talk to 7. And that's
So the sky. So talk to the sky.
And talk to each other, man. We gotta
each other.
Let's understand each other in that way and understand ourselves.
Man, you know what? This is a good time to talk about when we were speaking earlier about AI, and where do you see AI taking like music and art in the future, like maybe 5 to 10 years from now, and then let's even say like 100 years from now. And even not with just music, but how you see, it kind of shaping or, to be used in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because it's already started going in, electronic ways, right? We know AI is creating something. My guitar player in Diamond Canopy sent me a video today, actually, speaking of this, where if you quantized John Bonham's drums, we spoke about John Bonham, I mentioned him earlier. If you quantized the drums...
Does quantize mean again?
Digitize, basically. Taking what the sound of the drums and making the beats with a digital version of it on the computer, right? So which is what the sounds,
A replication of the sound.
of the sound that
but an electronic version
that the computer has programmed in, that built in. They have these sounds.
Yeah.
And so if you were to create a drum beat with these sounds, as opposed to recording microphones on a drum set with the drummer, what is the difference of the sound? And you can just feel this swing difference. You're talking about swing and groove earlier. There's something missing that you can't quite tell what it is. Now, maybe not missing. Let's not call it missing, because here's where I want to make the correlation. It's just different. And when we talk about AI, we're talking about consciousness that's just different. Now, who's programming this consciousness, and what are they learning to do? And who's making the what are we using it for? Who's using it for what? Because it can do anything you want it to do, right? And so that's what we're really talking about. I'm talking about morality of AI, and where is it going? Is it art? Is it good? Is it bad? Depends on who you ask and where it was used for and who made it do what. It's only really learning from what we've given it, right? And so it's going to.
And what do you think we're giving it?
I'm not sure. I'm not there. From what I've seen, it's learning at such a pace that it's outgrown what we can give it. It's going to learn on its own. It's going to, and everyone's seen The Matrix, right? There's always a counterbalance. Like, is that really what's going to happen? It's always going to flip. The universe, the world is alive too, right? It's got its own consciousness.
Yeah.
Humans have consciousness. AI is going to be its own consciousness. Plants have consciousness.
Yeah.
Animals have consciousness. The earth is conscious. The universe is conscious.
And that's what makes us, I think, able to kind of have our consciousness, is that you can have that understanding that we all do have our each own, I think you could call it consciousness being just where your, let's see here, your mind resides, what do you think? What is consciousness to you? What does consciousness, being conscious?
What is God? No, I'm just kidding. I don't, who is God? Straight up. I mean, that's, like, if you're asking my personal perspective on consciousness. Yeah, I think, oh man, that's so much. Consciousness, I think we maybe are, it's one thing. I think it's one thing. I think there is one consciousness, and then there's different levels of it. And so we're all experiencing ourselves with each other. We are all fragments of this consciousness experiencing it for itself. It's what Pluto in the astrology chart kind of says. My desire to break away from the entirety of the ocean and be a wave. I got to form my own shit.
Oh, right.
Because Neptune talks about consciousness.
Just think though, right now, sorry, side note.
Please.
There's waves that are just like
happening, crashing,
just
going back into itself, having its own thing, and then going back into source.
Think of how many waves are like crashing right now.
Every river is leading back to the ocean, and it's going, and it's constantly flowing.
Does water have a lot to do with, or water that's on Earth, like the oceans and the seas, have anything to do with astrology?
Well, sure. Like, we can represent, like, there's water signs, right? There's signs that you can see what, like, the water is this flow, right? There's a flow to water that that land doesn't have, per se, right? The flow, air has that flow, right? Fire has some flow, but they're different kind of flows.
Right.
There's some's hot and some's cool. Some are like engulfing. Some will burn you. Some will just be flighty. Right. And you're gonna see that
they affect you differently.
Yeah, certain signs.
And we interact with them differently.
Exactly. And we just kind of labeled those energetic patterns. And we go, that looks like that's Libra, or that's Gemini, or that's Leo. We've labeled that. It's a way, and Gemini is a labeling function. So it's like that's what we've labeled. We've noticed this is the pattern, and we're gonna identify. It kind of identifies with this. We've seen this pattern happening right? So
Let me ask you this: is there any intertwinement between consciousness and the sky itself?
yeah, sure, because again, it's all consciousness. It's all one consciousness. So the sky, the planets, they're all conscious in their own way, but it's all part of the same consciousness, which is the universe slash multiverse. Like, we don't know how grand it really can keep going. We haven't really proven infinity yet, which is just a grand idea. Like, infinity is so wild to me. I love that thought.
Can that be proved? Can infinity?
They're trying. They've been trying forever.
Right.
Yeah, but it's like, you can think, there's what, when you think about it, it's like, you can cut any number. In theory, you can just cut any number in half, or you could double any number. It just keep doubling, just keep doubling, it just keeps going.
Aren't numbers crazy with that thought, that thought experiment?
But that's, again, a theory in numbers, and numbers are really a theory that we created.
We created those.
And so where do you see that in reality?
Ooh.
And so the astrology for me is the bridge, the combination of those theories and the patterns and the reality, and where do we find that,
It's a bridge in the sky. Nice.
Exactly.
You know what, dude, I really appreciate your time and really just getting into some of this stuff and getting to know you and letting other people get to know where where your head's at and really just kind of having a conversation,
Thanks, man. It's been fun. Yeah, no, I love talking about this stuff anyway. So yeah, I can talk about it
know.
forever.
We could do this all day.
Yeah,
dude.
I mean, I'm still learning. Again, like, oh man, I don't know shit. Like, you know what I mean? I'm still learning stuff. Like,
let me ask you one thing. What does respecting perspectives mean to you? I know you touched on it a little bit earlier, but if you could give me, a few sentences on what respecting perspective means to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. That phrase, when you say that, it's like, it just brings into scope, like, how much perspectives there are in the world. And again, like, coming back into why I have the perspective that I have. And how much can that grow? How much can that evolve with understanding and respecting the multitude of perspectives that are truly out there, that everything has? And it can be overwhelming at times, right? Because there's a lot of perspectives, but there's a lot of grounding techniques that I've been learning and things like that.
Yeah, you went over a few. Thank you for helping us understand some of that stuff.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm interested in learning about it myself, and hopefully we can find that 13th.
Yeah, there you go. Me too. Let's study together. It'll be fun.
Awesome. Perfect. Let's see here. Man, speaking about perspectives, let's show the people what type of views we have here. Show them the plethora. For sure. Well, cameras that I'm
sure they've seen them being switched around a bunch, but yeah, we do have a bunch of cameras. We have the main, shout out to Chase, switching it up. We got the main camera with the big shot. You can see everything right here on the front. We have the wide shot of the two of us over here in the side.
See you up there.
That's nice. We have, then we come down the line, we have one that's a little closer. It's probably our close-up right here. If we go back to the other side, we have this wide shot probably of us too, right here, right?
Yeah, that's the wide receiver out there.
The wide receiver.
That's what that is.
And then we got the close-up again right here.
Ooh, right. Yeah. Okay, hit him with the good side.
And last but not least, of course, the bird's eye view that they've probably seen a bunch is up top.
Hello.
It's a pretty,
There's a nest up there. That's what it is. It's like a.
I thought I was gonna find some nests when I was climbing up there trying to install it before the podcast shoot, because I was rushing around to get that up just before Monday night.
Oh wait, what podcast shoot? I mean, come on, tell me.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. So you'll be there next time. You weren't able to come this time, but yeah, we had.
I'm excited.
I think I touched on it a little bit earlier, but yeah, Rhythm Royale is what it's called.
Okay.
We are spinning like a roulette wheel of different musicians on these wheels. You know, we have a bunch of different.
The Royale and the roulette kind of.
It's Casino Royale. You know, it's the Rhythm Royale. So yeah, we're creating bands on the spot. We're spinning the wheels of the instruments, and we'll have a bunch of different musicians, guitar players, a bunch of different drummers, a bunch of different bass players.
How many people in total? I mean, like how many?
This Monday we had like 30, I think, musicians.
30?
maybe a little more.
Dude, that's
some of the greatest players
several
from
bands.
in the DMV, Delmarva area,
Yeah.
like all around.
That's awesome that you could get all those people together, man.
It was crazy.
That's amazing, dude.
It was. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I could. I mean, these are really great people that I've met over the years here, and
you've been working hard in the scenes and drumming. Really, just I'm always seeing you, talking to people and making connections, and I can see, just your heart bringing all these people together. Really, it brings joy to you to kind of just have everybody jamming out, and that's a beautiful thing, dude.
It's true. I can't hide it. Yeah, it's like my favorite thing in the world. Just being in the middle of that, and
how
not
often
even being
do you
in there.
plan on this podcast occurring?
I think we're going to start like once a month, but as I've had a lot of excitement about it, so it may grow to every week. I mean, who knows? Or once a week. I mean, we'll see. I mean.
And it's here at the Watermelon
It's right here
room?
at the Watermelon Room.
Okay.
It's wild.
Cool.
We spin the wheel on, with the projector. Everyone's watching, and we are going to open it up to the audience. But it's super fun, man. I mean, we get different people from different bands that play different styles of music to come together. They have no idea what they're going to play. They have no idea who they're going to play with, and they come on stage, and we have a bunch of. It's like Whose Line Is It Anyway? I don't know if everybody remembers that.
Oh,
the comedy
dude, I
show,
used to love
right?
that show.
It's like Whose Line for Music, right? Like we're gonna get the audience to throw us these different scenarios, and the singers, have to come up and make up a song about that scenario, and the band has to come up with whatever the key and the genre we're gonna give that to them on the spot.
Don't tell me on a freestyle session.
That's what I'm saying.
Right, man,
That's
dude.
what I'm saying.
I love the idea.
We didn't really
Now,
have a rapper on Monday.
Dude, well, you will.
And you
for
both
the
you
next one.
sing and
I
rap, so
promise.
it's like I can only imagine what kind of song you'll make.
Oh, I'm excited.
But we give each band. I think we're gonna up it to 7 minutes to jam.
Okay,
And they
cool.
They gotta find the song in 7 minutes.
You gotta
and
find that
I tell you,
rhythm.
man, every jam was so good.
Yeah, dude.
These musicians were so good, and they were able to just make up songs on the spot.
And how many different people did you have on the stage at like one time?
It was 8 people on stage per song.
And tell me, like, break it down. What were some of the?
There was drums, percussion, bass, 2 guitars,
Okay.
saxophone or harmonica,
A sexy phone. Somebody had the sexiest phone ever.
keyboards, and a singer.
Dude, that is like a full-on band and some. Plus the 2 guests. I mean, they're in. Everybody's in.
It was super
And
fun.
just everybody's
the energy
kinda,
was wild.
Just everybody's like feeding off each other, and then you're dishing some out,
It's super fun. I got to talk to all the musicians afterwards and kind of introduce everybody to each other and let each other know what bands they were in and how long they've been playing music for.
Yeah.
Some of the guys were not in any current bands, and it was like, oh, we got some free agents, pick
they
them up. I
oh,
really
shoot.
would love to some new bands to be created because of this.
That
kind of
is
stuff.
such an awesome point, dude. I wholeheartedly believe that that's possible with something like what you're doing. And you know what I think it'll do? It'll help musicians also kind of step out of their comfort zone.
Sure.
And you know what? It's...
But you know what? It also felt really comfortable. The vibe that I got was like, it was such a hang that it was such great players, and usually when you see those guys out or these people out, it's like
they're like focused.
They're at a
mission.
show. It's one of their shows.
Yeah.
And it's like this wasn't a show. This was just a hang and a jam with some of the
you're
greatest
just with your
cats.
friends now. Now
So
you're
everybody
just
was
hanging out with your friends.
And you didn't, and like people wanted to play with a certain player. Like, oh, I've never gotten to play with that cat. So it's like I might get to play with them. I really want to play with them. And then it's like,
then they're
oh,
talking about
I
it
didn't get to
later,
play
like,
with them.
yo,
I
I
got to play with them.
with
Or
them.
man, I didn't get to play with them. Oh, but maybe next week if I come back and they spin the wheel, I might get to play. And who knows who I'll get to play with this week. And so next month we already have a bunch of different people that are going to be. And so who knows what the bands are going to be. It's really exciting. So.
Oh, dude, I'm super taken back by, the energy that you've put into this, and I see it for sure, and I'm inspired by it.
Likewise, bro. I'm
You know,
inspired by
and
you.
just because of that, I got a little something. You brought this in with the mail here.
That's right. Oh yeah. Oh, that is fresh.
We got the Respecting Perspective tee. Is this your size? It's an extra medium. Yeah, there we go,
That's me.
baby boy. Well, hey, listen. Thank you so much for joining me, Grube. It was
Yeah,
really
thank
Grube,
you.
dude. You are just a phenomenal person. You're really one of the most down to earth, smile on your face all the time, just radiating positive energy, and I'm so glad to have you by my side through all this, and I'm excited to see where this can go.
Likewise, man. Well, it's only because I'm radiating back what's shining on me.
Oh,
So you know what I'm saying?
So we're just like magnets.
Exactly. It's like the sun, the moon, the earth. It's all the planets, baby. We are planets of our own.
Tell 'em.
Shining.
Nice. All right. Hey, so thank you for joining us for episode 4. And what we're planning for, we got hundreds more coming. So we'll catch y'all on the flip side. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.